The stars belonged to the Arcturan hegemony. For 15,000 years, they had ruled without challenge. Their crystal ships moved through space like fish in water, beautiful and deadly. 3 arms of the galaxy bowed to their will. Countless alien races served them, paid them taxes, and gave them their best young people to join their fleets. Admiral Kelris stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Eternal Light. His blue skin reflected the glow of nearby stars on the view screen. 6 thin arms crossed over his chest as he looked out at his ships. The Grand Armada was 10,000 strong today, gathered for the yearly show of force. All were built from the same crystal material that seemed to drink in light rather than reflect it. A beautiful sight, isn't it, Second Commander? Kelris said to his deputy. Second Commander Vex nodded. The mightiest fleet ever built. No one would dare stand against us. Kelris smiled, showing teeth that looked like small diamonds. They would be fools to try. The last race that challenged us, the Proxima, are now extinct. Their home planet is a training ground for our weapons testers. The Arcturans had good reason to be proud. Their technology was beyond anything else in known space. Their ships could jump across vast distances in seconds. Their weapons could turn planets to dust. Their shields could stop almost anything. And their soldiers, trained from birth, were the perfect warriors. Admiral, we have a report from Scout Division 8, said a communications officer. They have found a new system in the Orion Spur. Primitive life forms, just beginning space travel. Kelris walked to the officer's station and looked at the report. Humans, he read aloud, from the planet Earth. The report showed pictures of the aliens. They were pink or brown, with only 2 arms and 2 legs. They had hair on their heads and faces. They looked weak. They have only reached their nearby planets, the officer continued. Their fastest ships are slower than our slowest cargo vessels, but their planet is rich in resources. Another world to add to our empire, Vex said, sounding bored. Shall we send a conquest fleet? Kelris zoomed in on the images of Earth. Something about these humans made him pause. They seemed so fragile, yet they had built cities that covered entire continents. They had survived on a planet with dangerous weather and many natural threats. Not yet, Kelris decided. Let's observe them a while longer. Send Scout Ship 477 to make closer contact. Test their responses. See if they understand their place in the universe. As you wish, Admiral. The communications officer sent the orders. Kelris returned to the viewport. These humans were nothing special, he told himself. The galaxy had seen thousands of young races rise and fall. Some joined the hegemony peacefully. Others fought and were crushed. A few were useful enough to keep as servants. Most simply disappeared, forgotten by everyone except those who wrote the official records. Add this Earth to the list of future acquisitions, Kelris told Vex. Low priority. We'll get to them eventually. Yes, Admiral. But as Kelris watched his perfect fleet perform its maneuvers, a strange feeling settled in his gut. The Arcturans had ruled so long that many believed they always would. History taught that every empire had its challenges, though. Every unbeatable force eventually met something it could not beat. Kelris pushed these thoughts away. The humans were primitive. Their ships were slow and weak. Their weapons were simple. They hadn't even united their own planet properly. They were no threat to the mighty Arcturan hegemony. Scout Ship 477 changed course and headed toward the Sol system. Its mission was simple. Observe, report, and if necessary, remind these humans of their insignificance in the grand design of the universe. The game of conquest was about to begin. Again, Captain Abigail Mason liked the quiet of deep space. The ESS Challenger moved smoothly past Jupiter's orbit, the giant planet now small in their rear viewports. This was the farthest any human ship had traveled, and Abigail felt the weight of that fact every day. All systems normal, Captain, said Lieutenant Eric Daniels from the tactical station. His fingers moved across the screen, checking each system twice. We're right on course for the asteroid belt survey. Abigail nodded. Thank you, Lieutenant. Dr. Wright, are the sensors picking up anything interesting? Dr. Olivia Wright looked up from her station. Her eyes were bright with excitement. As the ship's xenobiologist, she hoped more than anyone to find signs of alien life. Nothing yet, Captain, but the new deep space scanners are working better than expected. In the engine room below, Sam Phillips watched the power readings with careful eyes. The Challenger's engines were his babies. Everything's running smooth as silk down here, Captain, he reported through the comm system. We could push her faster if you want. Steady as she goes, Sam, Abigail replied. We have plenty of time, Tow. A red light flashed on all screens. Alarms sounded through the ship. Contact, Eric shouted. Something just appeared off our starboard side. It wasn't there 3 seconds ago. Abigail's training took over. On screen. Full stop. Alert status. The view screen showed a sleek ship that seemed to be made of dark crystal. It was about twice the size of the Challenger and shaped like a perfect teardrop. No visible engines, no obvious weapons, but something about it made the hairs on Abigail's neck stand up. It's beautiful, Dr. Wright whispered. And not from around here, Eric added. His hands hovered over the weapons controls. Hold fire, Abigail ordered. Dr. Wright, can we communicate with them? Before Wright could answer, a beam of light shot from the alien ship. Not a weapon, but a scan that washed over the Challenger from bow to stern. They're scanning us, Eric said, his voice tight. Our systems can't block it. A voice filled the bridge, speaking perfect English, but with a strange echo that made it sound like 3 voices speaking at once. Human vessel, this space belongs to the Arcturan hegemony. You have not been granted permission to travel here. Identify yourselves and prepare to be boarded for inspection. Abigail straightened her uniform and nodded to Dr. Wright to open a channel. This is Captain Abigail Mason of the Earth Spaceship Challenger. We come in peace from the planet Earth. We did not know this area was claimed by any civilization. We welcome peaceful contact with the Arcturan hegemony. A long silence followed. Then the voice returned, sounding surprised. You do not surrender. Interesting. Most species understand their place when confronted by Arcturan might. We mean no disrespect, Abigail said carefully. But we are an exploration vessel, not a military ship. We have no authority to surrender Earth or its interests. We would welcome the chance to establish diplomatic relations. In the Arcturan scout ship, Commander Xerex could not believe what he was hearing. These primitives were speaking as if they were equals. Their ship was tiny, with primitive propulsion and no meaningful weapons. Yet they did not beg for mercy. A demonstration may be required, he told his crew. Target their forward sensors. Minimal power. A blue beam lashed out from the Arcturan ship, striking the Challenger's bow. The human ship rocked violently. Damage to forward sensor array, Eric reported. Shields at 40%. Sam, give me everything you've got, Abigail ordered. Dr. Wright, record everything. Eric, plot us a course back toward Mars base. We're leaving. The Challenger turned and accelerated away, its engines glowing bright. The Arcturan ship could have destroyed them easily, but instead watched them flee. Collect all data on their vessel, Commander Xerex ordered. Admiral Kelris will want a full report. These humans are more interesting than expected. As the Challenger raced home, Abigail knew everything had changed. Earth was not alone, and their new neighbors were not friendly. Send a priority message to Earth Defense, she told Eric. Tell them we're going to need bigger ships. The room was silent as Captain Abigail Mason finished her report. 12 men and women sat around the large table, their faces showing different levels of worry and fear. This was the United Earth Defense Council, the people responsible for protecting all of humanity. Joseph Bennett, Director of Defense, stood up. He was a tall man with gray hair and eyes that had seen too many wars on Earth. Now he faced something much bigger. "Let me make sure I understand," he said. "These Arcturans appeared out of nowhere, demanded our surrender, fired on your ship when you tried to talk peace, and then let you escape." Abigail nodded. "Yes, sir. I believe they were testing us, seeing how we would react. And we failed their test," said General Frank Holloway, his voice rough. "They wanted us to bow down, and we didn't." "I don't see that as failure, General," Abigail replied. "I see it as keeping our dignity." Joseph Bennett walked to the large screen on the wall. It showed all the data collected from the Arcturan ship. "Dignity won't stop their weapons. Dr. Wright, what can you tell us about their technology?" Dr. Olivia Wright stood and joined him at the screen. "Their ship appeared through what we believe is some form of faster-than-light travel, something we've only dreamed about. Their hull is made of material we can't identify, and their weapons cut through our best shields like they weren't even there." The room grew even quieter. Sam Phillips, the Challenger's engineer, spoke up. "Sir, if I may." When Bennett nodded, Sam continued. "Their tech is advanced, yes, but not magic. We recorded everything. We can learn from it." "How long would that take?" General Holloway asked. "Months? Years? Do we have that kind of time?" A new voice spoke from the doorway. "Maybe we don't have to catch up to them. Maybe we can leap ahead." Everyone turned to see a woman with wild red hair and clothes that looked like she had slept in them for days. She carried a tablet computer and had dark circles under her eyes. "Dr. Nicole Winters," Bennett said, introducing her to the others. "Our leading physicist. Dr. Winters, you have something to add." Nicole walked to the table, her eyes bright despite her tired appearance. "I've been working on new propulsion theories, ways to bend space rather than move through it. The data from the Arcturan ship confirms some of my ideas." She placed her tablet on the table and images appeared above it, showing complex equations and diagrams. "I believe we can build engines that match or even exceed Arcturan capabilities. But we'd need resources, a lot of resources." General Holloway laughed without humor. "And where would we get those? We can barely fund our current space fleet." Joseph Bennett looked around the room, then made a decision. "From everywhere. Every nation. Every company. Every person. This isn't about countries anymore. It's about our species." He pressed a button on the table, and a world map appeared on the main screen. "We need to unite Earth like never before. Pool our knowledge, our resources, our best minds." "Will people agree to that?" someone asked. "They will when they see this," Bennett said, playing the video of the Arcturan ship firing on the Challenger. "Fear is a powerful motivator." Dr. Winters tapped her tablet again. "I have designs for a ship. Not a fleet of many small ships, but one massive vessel with capabilities beyond anything we've built before. Something that could stand against multiple Arcturan ships." "One ship," General Holloway sounded doubtful. "Against an alien armada." "Not just a ship," Nicole said, her eyes gleaming. "A Leviathan." Bennett looked at the early designs on her tablet. They showed a vessel of incredible size. How long would it take to build this Leviathan? With unlimited resources and the whole world working together. Nicole considered. 2 years, maybe less. "Do we have that long?" Abigail asked quietly. No one answered. No one knew. Bennett straightened his shoulders. "Then we'd better get started. Today." The facility under the Pacific Ocean was the biggest secret on Earth. 3 miles below the waves, it stretched for nearly 2 miles in every direction. 20,000 people worked there, none allowed to leave until the project was complete. The world above only knew that something important was happening, something that might save them all. Dr. Nicole Winters stood on a viewing platform, looking down at the massive shape taking form in the construction bay. Her wild red hair was now cut short for practicality, and dark circles under her eyes showed she rarely slept. Next to her stood Paul Rodriguez, the chief designer whose job was to turn her theories into reality. "Will it work?" Paul asked quietly. He was a tall man with steady hands that could draw perfect blueprints without using tools. Will it really stand against their fleet? Nickel didn't answer right away. Below them, thousands of workers swarmed over the largest human-made object ever built. The ship was 15 kilometers long, with a hull that shimmered like oil on water. "It has to work," she finally said. "We've put everything into it. Every new idea, every breakthrough. Things we shouldn't have figured out for another 100 years." Paul nodded. "The adaptive hull is my favorite part. Millions of nanomachines that can change shape and function during battle." "Dr. Chen's power core is the real miracle," Nickel replied. "Artificial microsingularities as an energy source. It's beautiful and terrifying at the same time." A door opened behind them, and Captain Abigail Mason walked onto the platform. She now wore a new uniform with special insignia designed for the project. Her crew from the Challenger would join her in commanding this new vessel. "How does it look from up here?" Abigail asked, joining them at the railing. "Like hope," Nickel said simply. Abigail studied the ship. 2 years of work. The whole world contributing without knowing exactly what they're building. "I still can't believe we've kept it secret." "Fear is a powerful motivator for secrecy too," Paul said. "No one wants to be the person who leaked information about Earth's only real defense." The three stood in silence, watching the activity below. Workers attached huge plates to the frame. Engineers tested systems. Scientists made final adjustments to experimental technology. "We need more time," Nickel said suddenly. "There are systems we haven't properly tested. The quantum navigation array, the space-time distortion field." "The time is something we don't have," Abigail interrupted gently. "Our deep space monitors have detected Arcturan ships moving toward our system. Best guess is we have 3 weeks before they arrive." Paul gripped the railing tightly. 3 weeks. We need at least 2 months to finish all systems and run proper tests. Then we'll have to launch with what works and finish the rest in transit," Abigail said. Her voice was calm, but her eyes showed her concern. "Director Bennett is coming tomorrow to see our progress." Nickel turned to face the captain. "Abby, you understand what you're taking into battle, right? This ship has technology we barely understand ourselves. The power core alone could tear a hole in space if it fails." Abigail nodded. "I know the risks. My crew knows them too. But we also know what happens if we do nothing." Their conversation was interrupted by an alarm. Red lights flashed throughout the facility. A voice came over the speakers, sounding urgent but controlled. "Attention all personnel. We have received new intelligence. Arcturan fleet approaching faster than expected. Estimated arrival: 10 days. All departments begin launch preparations immediately." "This is not a drill." The three looked at each other, then back at the unfinished ship below. "Does it have a name yet?" Paul asked quietly. "Yes," Abigail said. "ESS Leviathan." Nickel took a deep breath. 10 days to prepare our monster to fight theirs. "Then we'd better get to work," Abigail said, already turning toward the door. "Humanity doesn't get a second chance." Admiral Kelris stood on the bridge of the Eternal Light, watching as his fleet prepared for the jump to the human system. He had assigned the 7th Fleet to this mission, 200 warships led by Commander Therax. It was more than enough to handle a primitive species. "Is the fleet ready, Commander?" Kelris asked. Commander Therax bowed slightly. He was younger than most fleet commanders, eager to prove himself. His blue skin was a shade lighter than Kelris's, and his 6 arms were marked with fewer battle scars. "Yes, Admiral. All ships report ready." "Good. Remember, we want their resources intact. Their planet should be damaged as little as possible." Kelris turned to face the ambitious young commander. "This is a simple operation, Therax. Don't make it complicated." "I understand, Admiral. The humans will be subjugated within 3 days of our arrival." Therax spoke with complete confidence. "Their primitive weapons cannot harm our ships." Kelris nodded. Then proceed. I will await your victory report. Commander Therax returned to his own ship, the Crystal Spear. As the newest ship in the fleet, it had the latest weapons and the strongest shields. Therax had requested it specifically for this mission. He wanted to make a statement with his first command. All ships, prepare for jump, he ordered. Target, Sol system, near the 4th planet. 200 ships vanished from Arcturan space, their jump drives folding space around them. In less than a second, they reappeared near the red planet the humans called Mars. Scan the system, Therax commanded. His officers worked quickly. Commander, we detect human outposts on the 4th planet and its moons. Small settlement on the 2nd planet. Heavy presence in orbit around the 3rd planet, their homeworld. Any significant military vessels? Nothing of concern. Small patrol ships near Mars. Some larger vessels around Earth. All use primitive propulsion and basic weapons. Therax smiled, showing his diamond-like teeth. Begin the operation. Destroy the Mars outposts first. The Arcturan ships moved forward. Blue beams lashed out, cutting through the human defenses like they were made of paper. The outposts on Mars exploded one after another. Human ships tried to fight back, firing missiles and energy weapons, but nothing could penetrate the Arcturan shields. Pathetic, Therax said, watching the one-sided battle. Move toward Earth. Let them see what's coming. Back on Earth, the United Earth Defense Council watched in horror as the Mars defenses fell in minutes. Joseph Bennett slammed his fist on the table. How many ships? He demanded. At least 200, an officer reported. They're moving toward us now. Our lunar defenses will engage in 30 minutes. General Holloway shook his head. The lunar bases won't last any longer than Mars did. What about our orbital platforms? Being armed now, sir, but based on what we've seen. The officer didn't need to finish. Bennett pressed a button on the table. Get me the Leviathan. Now. In the underwater base, alarm sounded. Captain Abigail Mason ran to the command center, where a screen showed Bennett's grim face. They're here, Bennett said. 200 ships. Mars defenses are gone. They'll reach Earth in hours. Abigail took a deep breath. We need more time. The Leviathan isn't ready. There is no more time, Captain. Is it ready enough to fight? Before Abigail could answer, Dr. Nickel Winters burst into the room. The main engines work. The power core is stable. The weapons are online. But the adaptive hull is only at 60% capacity, and we haven't tested the quantum systems in real conditions. Will it fly? Will it fight? Bennett asked simply. Nickel and Abigail looked at each other. Then Abigail turned back to the screen. Yes, sir. It will fly. It will fight. Then launch, Bennett ordered. Now, it's our only hope. Abigail nodded. Understood. Leviathan launching in 30 minutes. As she ended the call, she turned to Nicole. Get your team on board. We're finishing the work in space. Throughout the massive ship, the call went out. Launch in 30 minutes. The crew raced to their stations. Engineers secured loose equipment. Scientists grabbed what they could carry. The Leviathan was going to war. Ready or not, the ocean began to churn and bubble. Massive doors slid open on the seafloor, revealing a giant underwater bay. Water drained quickly from the bay through special channels. Then, with a rumble that shook the ocean for miles around, the ESS Leviathan rose. First came the bow, breaking the surface like a mountain emerging from the sea. Water cascaded from its dark hull that shifted and moved like something alive. More and more of the ship appeared until its full 15-kilometer length floated on the Pacific Ocean. It was so large that people on shore could see it despite being miles away. Inside the bridge, Captain Abigail Mason strapped herself into the command chair. Around her, the crew from the Challenger took their positions. Lieutenant Eric Daniels at Tactical, Dr. Olivia Wright at Sensors, and Sam Phillips monitoring the engines from a special station on the bridge. All stations report, Abigail ordered. Tactical ready. Eric said. Weapons charging. Defense systems active. Sensors operational, Olivia added. Still calibrating the long-range systems. Engineering reports the power core is stable, Sam said. Main engines ready. Dr. Winters is in the engine room keeping an eye on the quantum systems. Abigail took a deep breath. Communications, inform Earth defense we are launching. Navigation, set course for Mars orbit. Prepare for main engine ignition. The massive ship began to move, slowly at first, then with growing speed. Its hull lifted out of the water as gravity control systems took effect. The Leviathan rose into the sky like no ship humans had ever built before. Main engines engaged, Sam reported. All systems functioning within parameters. The Leviathan accelerated toward space. In minutes, it left Earth's atmosphere. The blue planet grew smaller behind them as they raced toward Mars at speeds that would have been impossible just 2 years ago. Captain, Olivia called from her station. I'm detecting Arcturan ships in the asteroid belt. They've split their forces. About 30 warships are heading toward us. Abigail stood and walked to the tactical display. They must have detected us launching. They're sending a welcoming committee. The rest of their fleet is continuing toward Earth, Eric added. Looks like they don't consider us a serious threat. That's their first mistake, Abigail said. Battle stations. Prepare all weapons. Activate the adaptive hull. Throughout the massive ship, crew members ran to their positions. Weapon systems powered up. The hull began to shift and change, millions of nanomachines moving to create the strongest possible defense. In the engine room, Dr. Nickel Winters monitored the power core. The artificial microsingularities glowed with strange light, providing more energy than all of Earth's power plants combined. Power levels stable, she reported to the bridge. You have full weapons capability, Captain. The Leviathan entered the asteroid belt. Ahead, 30 Arcturan warships moved to surround it. Their crystal hulls glittered in the sunlight. On the crystal spear, Commander Therax received the report about the human vessel with amusement. One ship, he laughed. They send one ship against our fleet. It must be a diplomatic vessel coming to surrender. His second officer studied the readings more carefully. Commander, this ship is unusual. It's much larger than anything in our records of human technology, and its power readings are off the scale. A primitive dreadnought, Therax said dismissively. Probably their best weapon. Let's destroy it quickly and continue to their homeworld. Target all weapons on the human vessel. The 30 Arcturan ships moved into attack formation. Blue energy built up around their weapons ports. They're preparing to fire, Eric reported on the Leviathan's bridge. Abigail sat calmly in her command chair. Let them make the first move. Then show them what humanity can do when pushed to the edge. The space between the ships lit up as the Arcturans fired. Brilliant blue beams rushed toward the Leviathan from all directions. And the real battle for Earth began. Blue energy beams from 30 Arcturan ships hit the Leviathan all at once. The bridge crew held their breath. On any other human ship, those beams would have cut through everything like a hot knife through butter. But the Leviathan was not like other ships. The adaptive hull shifted and flowed where the beams hit. Instead of burning through, the energy was absorbed, spreading across the surface in glowing blue patterns. Hull integrity at 95%, Sam Phillips reported, his voice full of wonder. It's working. The nanomachines are converting the energy and redistributing it. Lieutenant Eric Daniels couldn't hide his smile. Weapons locked on the 5 closest targets. Ready to fire. Captain Abigail Mason nodded. Fire. The Leviathan's main weapons fired for the first time. Not beams like the Arcturans used, but strange ripples in space itself that moved out from the ship. When they reached the Arcturan vessels, they seemed to pass right through their shields. 5 crystal ships shattered like glass, their pieces spinning away into the darkness. On the crystal spear, Commander Therax stared at his screen in shock. What happened? How did they penetrate our shields? Unknown, Commander, his science officer replied, voice shaking. Their weapons don't register on our scanners. They're using some kind of technology we've never seen. Therax slammed all 6 of his hands. Admiral Kelris took personal command when he heard what happened to Commander Therax's ships. His blue face had turned almost white with anger. In 15,000 years, no Arcturan fleet had ever been defeated. He would not be the first admiral to lose to primitives. All ships form attack pattern Omega, he ordered from the bridge of the Eternal Light. Target the human vessel with all weapons. Nothing survives this day. The Arcturan fleet, now 170 ships strong with Kelris's flagship leading, moved into position near Earth's moon. The blue planet hung in space behind them, beautiful and fragile. Earth's orbital defenses fired desperately at the alien armada. Missiles, energy beams, and railgun projectiles filled space. A few Arcturan ships took damage, but most weren't even scratched. "Where is the human supership?" Kelris demanded. "Approaching rapidly from the direction of Mars," his sensor officer reported. "It appears damaged from the previous battle." Kelris bared his diamond teeth in what passed for a smile among his kind. "Good. Prepare to finish what Therax started." The Leviathan appeared, moving faster than should have been possible for something so large. Its dark hull still showed glowing red spots where it had been hit before. Inside, the crew worked frantically to keep systems running. "Hull integrity at 50%, Sam Phillips reported on the bridge. "The adaptive nanomachines are working overtime, but we took too much damage in the asteroid belt." Captain Abigail Mason surveyed the tactical display. Nearly 200 enemy ships against their one. "Status of the quantum core." Dr. Nicol Winters' voice came through the comm system, sounding tired but determined. "Stable for now, but we can't maintain this power output much longer. The micro-singularities are becoming unstable." Abigail made her decision. "All power to weapons and defensive systems. We need to hit them hard and fast." The Leviathan plunged into the heart of the Arcturan fleet, firing its space-warping weapons. Ships shattered or became trapped in temporal bubbles. But there were so many enemy vessels that for each one destroyed, 3 more took its place. Blue beams struck the Leviathan from all sides. This time, the adaptive hull couldn't absorb all the energy. Explosions rocked the massive ship. "Hull breaches on decks 12 through 17, Eric reported, his voice steady despite the situation. "Emergency force fields holding." Abigail gripped her command chair as the ship shook again. "Keep firing. Target their flagship." On the Eternal Light, Admiral Kelris watched with growing concern. The human ship was damaged, yet it kept fighting. It had already destroyed 30 more of his vessels. "Their technology," he muttered. "How is this possible?" The Leviathan turned toward his flagship, space rippling around it as it prepared another attack. Kelris felt something he had never experienced before: doubt. Back on the human vessel, Nicol Winters stared at her readings with sudden understanding. "Captain, I have an idea. It's dangerous, but it might be our only chance." "We're listening, Doctor," Abigail replied as another hit rocked the ship. "If I overcharge the quantum core, it will create a massive space-time rupture. We could trap most of their fleet in a pocket dimension. But we'd only have seconds to get clear before it collapses." Abigail didn't hesitate. "Do it." Nicol began the process. The power core glowed brighter than ever, the artificial singularities spinning faster. "Core overload in 30 seconds. All weapons, target the flagship," Abigail ordered. "Keep them focused on us." The Leviathan fired everything it had at the Eternal Light. Admiral Kelris's ship took heavy damage, its crystal hull cracking in multiple places. 20 seconds. Nicol called out. "All engines, prepare for emergency jump away from the rupture zone," Abigail commanded. 10 seconds. The space around the Leviathan began to twist and bend. A small black hole appeared, quickly growing larger. "Now," Nicol shouted. The Leviathan's engines fired, pushing it away as the rupture expanded. It grew to engulf most of the Arcturan fleet, including many ships around the damaged flagship. Space itself folded inward, pulling the alien vessels into nothingness. When it was over, only 20 Arcturan ships remained, the eternal light among them. The flagship drifted, heavily damaged, its weapons offline. Abigail opened a communication channel. On the screen appeared Admiral Kelris, blue blood running from a cut on his face. For a long moment, they stared at each other in silence. "This isn't over," Kelris finally said. "You're right," Abigail replied. "It's just beginning. The stars have a new ruler now."